Tischa pramado moha evacha tasmasyeta nijayante vivride kurunandana yada sattve pravriddhetu pralayam yati dehavrit tadautamma vidam lokan amalan pratipadyate rajasi pralayam gatva karma sangishu jayate तथा प्रलीनस्तमसि मुदयोनिषु जायते कर्मणा सुकृतास्युः सात्विकं निर्मलं फलं रजसस्तु फलं दुःखम् अज्ञानं तमसः फलम् सत्त्वात् संजयते ज्ञानं रजसो लोभ एव च प्रमादा मोहो तमसो भवतो ज्ञानमेव च ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्ता मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसा जगन्या गुणवृत्तिस्ता अधो गच्छन्ति तामसा नान्यं गुणेभ्यः कर्तारं यदा दृष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेति मद्भावं सोऽधिगच्छति गुणानेतानतीत्यत्रीन् देहि देहा समुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्यु जरा दुःखैर्विमुक्तो मृत्युम् अश्नुते अर्जुन उवाच केर्लिङ्गे स्त्रीन् गुणानेतान् अतीतो भवति प्रभो किम् आचार कथं चैतांस् त्रीन् गुणान् अतिवर्तते श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रकाशं च प्रवृत्तिं च मोहमेव च पाण्डव न द्वेष्टि सम्प्रवृत्तानि नावृत्तानि काङ्क्षति उदासीनो वदासीनो गुणैर्यो न विचल्यते गुणावर्तन्त इत्येवं योऽवतिष्ठति नेङ्गते समदुःखा सुखा स्वस्था समलोष्टास्मकञ्चन तुल्यप्रिया प्रियो धीरस्तुल्यनिन्दात्मसंस्तुतिः मानापमानयस्तुल्यस्तुल्यमित्रारिपक्षयो सर्वारम्भा परित्यागी गुणातीतः स उच्यते मां चायो व्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सागुणान् समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम् अमृतस्य व्यस्यस्य च शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखस्य एकान्तिकस्य च श्रीमद् भागवत गीता की जय Hare Krishna. So thank you so much for being here. That was wonderful. The 14th chapter of the Gita is such an important chapter. So we'll share a few reflections on the 14th chapter of the Gita. We'll speak a little bit about book distribution, and perhaps if you have any questions, we can also try to discuss some of those points as well. When I try to share the 14th chapter with individuals, then I tell them to remember the word trap, because the 14th chapter is all about how the living entity is trapped in the material world. Somehow or other, being trapped is like something I'm thinking about. Last night, we were trying to get from France into the UK, and we were scared about being trapped. Everyone from the UK was trying to come out. Everyone from outside was trying to get in. Everyone was trapped. But ultimately, we're all trapped in the material world. And Krishna explains in this chapter that the trap, which is binding each person in this material world, is the three modes of material nature. If you think of a deep ocean, then those who are on the seabed, right at the bottom of the ocean, there it is very, very dark. there is hardly any movement or any living entities at all. There, not much happens at all. Then at the bottom of the sea ocean, you can understand this is the mode of ignorance. As you come up in the ocean a little bit, then there you come to the middle of the ocean, like the middle section where there are many, many fishes, a lot of life, a lot of movement, a lot of fighting, sharks and other living entities who are all in the struggle. And as you go a little higher in the ocean and you start coming towards the surface, then you start to see more light. And if somehow you can come over the surface of the water and see daylight, then there's a chance that someone may see you and then pick you up and take you out of the ocean completely. We are all in the ocean of the material world, but we are all in different places. Some are steeped in the mode of ignorance right at the bottom of the ocean. Some are in the mode of passion where many things are going on in the middle of the ocean. And some are in the mode of goodness. They can see the light, but still they're in the ocean. And somehow or other, if we can get to the mode of goodness and then call out to Krishna, then Krishna says, Sagunan, Samatityetan, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Then I'll pull you out of the ocean. And then you free yourself from the trap of the material world. So Krishna explains in this world that in this chapter that this world is actually trapping us. This world is actually not a very nice place at all. And in this world, although we try to find happiness, we try to fulfill our dreams, we try to follow our heart and hope that everything will work out as planned, the modes of nature always foil our plans. And therefore Krishna says the only solution is that somehow or other you have to free yourself from the trap of this material world. You have to free yourself from the modes of nature. But how can you free yourself from the modes of nature if you don't have knowledge, if you don't have spiritual light to guide you as to what is the way out? And therefore the Shastra, the scriptures, give us that knowledge. The Shastras give us that light. And anyone who carries the Shastra and gives those books to other people, gives people not just the book, but you give them knowledge, you give them light, and you give them the opportunity of a whole new life. And so this is the greatest welfare work, that somehow or other all the living entities are trapped in this world. And I want to share with you today that in Sankirtan, I think Sankirtan is an activity, book distribution is an activity which is incomparable to anything else, even within the Krishna consciousness movement. This is special. So special that we cannot stop doing it. Somehow or other, this whole year, in January, I was in India. And then after I was in India, I came back to the manor. And then somehow the manor went into lockdown. I think I was the first person to go into isolation. We won't discuss that now, but and then for 9 months, I was in lockdown in the manor, which was wonderful, which was very nice, actually. I'm not complaining. But somehow or other, it got to November, and I said, the whole year has gone by, and we haven't done any book distribution. A year without book distribution. A year without the most special activity in the entire creation. A year in which we don't do something that even within the Krishna consciousness movement is incomparable to everything else. That wouldn't be a complete year. So all of us somehow or other, we're trying to do this activity even in a very difficult and dark time. Sankirtan is special, book distribution is special for many reasons. But this December, I had a very strong feeling of why book distribution is so special. And today I'll try and share that with you. Some of you know me, and you know that I have a very hard heart. I'm a very hard-hearted person. I wish I had more love. I wish I could express more emotion. I wish I could be as kind and hospitable and as encouraging as some of you, many of you. But I don't. I have a hard heart. And so once my spiritual master actually told me, you have to become more kind. You have to become more soft-hearted. And so I often think, how will I become more soft-hearted? Because until you become soft-hearted, you cannot experience spiritual life. Bhakti means to have a soft heart. And this marathon, I got the strong realization that Sankirtan has been the one activity in my life that has really helped me to soften even my hard heart. Compassion and trying to show compassion to others is an activity which is incredible. The experience of compassion and the effect of compassion in our life is something extraordinary. We all know our wonderful Dr. Karuna Ras. And whenever I think of his name, I think, wow, what a name, Karuna Ras, the taste of compassion. And I often think that this compassion is very, very wonderful. Because I find that when we do book distribution, when we try to reach out to others, and when we try to embody compassion, then it has an effect on our heart. And it actually makes our heart very, very soft. And when we soften our heart, then actually what happens is we open ourselves to really begin to understand how loving and compassionate Krishna is. And so this is what I want to share with you today, that when you do book distribution, the compassion that is required for this activity and the things that you see while you do this activity and the things you experience will soften your heart. And when the heart becomes soft, then we'll actually be able to appreciate and fully realize how loving and compassionate Krishna is towards us. And when we realize how loving and compassionate Krishna is towards us, then we want to give more to Krishna, give more to others. And then in that compassion, we experience more of Krishna's compassion. And like this, spiritual life goes deeper and deeper and deeper. On Sankirtan, sometimes while distributing books, while trying to share Krishna consciousness with others, I feel I've had some of the most emotional and heart-touching experiences in my whole life. And I just wanted to share maybe something that happened a few days ago. So we were traveling across France, and we were trying to share the books with people. And I just want to say at this point that France was in a different situation to the UK. So you're all distributing books, but it's nice that you're doing it according to safety, and we should always follow that safety. But we were out distributing books in France, and we were in Paris, and we traveled to many places, and then we went to Strasbourg. So a few days ago, I was in Strasbourg, and it was right at the end of the day, and it was raining, and it was very, very dark, and the street was slowly clearing out, so many people were going home, and I was just walking around. We were going to end the day, and then I saw one boy. He was an African boy, and he was standing waiting for the tram. So I approached him, and I showed him the Bhagavad Gita. And as soon as he began speaking, he spoke perfect English, wonderful English. I said, wow, your English is so good. And then I began explaining the Gita to him. He immediately took the Gita, and he said, this is really amazing. I'm so happy that you've come and give me this knowledge today. And I said, I looked at him and I said, tell me something about you. He goes, you don't want to know my life story. I said, no, tell me. Then he looked at me, he said, I'm 17. I looked at him and said, you're 17? You look much older. He said, no, I'm 17 years old. And let me tell you something about how I ended up here in Strasbourg. He said, when I was 13, I grew up in Cameroon, in Africa. When I was 13, both of my parents died. Both of my parents died when I was 13 years old. He said, I didn't have any other family in Cameroon. He said, when I was 13 and my parents died, then some of the village told me that you have to go and find your brother because he's your only remaining family member. So he said, at the age of 13, my parents died. I had no other family members. I traveled overland to Libya to meet my brother. So he made a journey. Can you imagine? At 14 years old, he traveled overland from Cameroon to Libya. So he reached Libya and he spent some time with his brother, 1 year. And then his brother said, look, there's not much for you here for the future of your life. You should try to go to France. So he said, at the age of 15, I got onto a ship and illegally, I came into France at the age of 15. So he said, I've been going through France and now here I am in Strasbourg. He looked at me and he said, I have no money. I have no family. He said, I have no home. And he said, I have no paperwork. He said, practically, I'm a complete non-entity in this world. And then he looked at me and he said, but you know, I know God will protect me. And I said, wow. I said, wow. You know, like, okay, now I could understand Krishna was bringing me to this person to teach me many things. He said, you know what my life is like? I'm standing here on the street. If a policeman walks by and asks me one question about who I am, I could be deported from the country like that. He said, I don't know how I'm going to survive. I said, where will you sleep tonight? He said, I have some friends and there I'll sleep tonight. And then tomorrow, I don't know, but I know God will protect me. I said, oh my God, it was becoming very much for me. It was very emotional to see this is life. This is what people are going through. And then he said, and then I was thinking, oh my God, I think I should give him some money. Normally we're on book distribution to collect money. In my heart, I thought to myself, I should give him some money. I should help him. So I was just about to reach in my bag to give him like 20, 30 euros, whatever, to help him. And as I was reaching into my bag, he said, you know, I want to give you something for this book. So then he pulled out whatever coins he had and he started giving me the coins. I said, I felt bad in my mind. I was thinking, should I take the coins? Should I not take the coins? He needs it. I was thinking, but if he gives it, that's such a wonderful offering to Krishna. And then he looked at me and he said something amazing. And it was Krishna speaking. He looked at me and he said, I want to give you this money. He said, you are not out here just selling some books. This is not just you selling some books and collecting some money and some kind of business. He said, this is love. You're doing an activity of love. And I thought, oh my God, Krishna, I'm looking at book distribution. Sometimes I feel like that it's just selling a book, getting some money, job done. He's looking at me and he's saying, this is love. You've come here to give me this love in this form of this book. And I want to reciprocate with your love by giving you something. And so that was amazing. He didn't have anything. He doesn't know where he's going to sleep tomorrow night, but he could appreciate that this knowledge is so powerful. And this knowledge is what takes us out of the trap of this material world. Can you imagine what life is like for him? How does he live? What's his future? Where does he go? He has no family, he has nothing, he has no identity. That day I was walking home and there was prasadam ready and a bed to sleep, and I was thinking of him all night. I was thinking, where will he sleep? What will he do? He has no family, nothing. But he said, I don't worry because I have faith in God. I know God will protect me. And it was so humbling. It was so amazing. It was humbling. It brought a tear to my eye. I didn't cry in so many kirtans. I didn't cry when I saw the deities so much. I didn't cry so much when I went Vrindavan. But when we go out on the street and we try to be compassionate, then the emotions and the exchanges we have with people softens our heart, brings tears to the eyes. And with that soft heart, we then approach Krishna, and then we're able to experience Krishna's love because we now have a soft heart. So this is my strong feeling from this marathon, that book distribution is amazing. We're helping people. Sometimes it just feels like it can feel like a mechanical activity, like all of you are on calls, right? So you're like calling people. Sometimes you feel like a cold caller salesperson, like, oh my God, now I'm going to get on someone else's nerves, and, now I'm going to, and it feels very uncomfortable. Always remember what that boy said. He said, this is not just you selling some books and collecting money. He said, this is love. And so every time you do a call, remember, this is love. Every time someone takes a book, remember, this is love. This is not business. Every time we hear the scores of the Sankirtan, remember, this is love. This is not just a number. And when we become absorbed in this mood of compassion, this mood of giving, then our heart will become very, very soft. And with that heart, we will be able to fully open ourselves to Krishna. So Sankirtan is such a beautiful activity. It's amazing things happen. Amazing things happen. And people are out there. The people that you're about to call or meet or try to connect with, there are people who are just waiting. They're waiting. I'll tell you another story. I was in Paris we were distributing many places. One of the places we were distributing was the famous Champs-Élysées by the Arc de Triomphe, very prominent street in France. Anyway, I was holding the Bhagavad Gita, and this one boy came and he was walking towards me. He wasn't looking at me. He wasn't looking at what I was wearing. All he was looking at was my hand. And in my hand, I had a shiny, the orange shining Bhagavad Gita. And I could see he was walking towards me, looking at the Gita. I just kind of lifted the Gita like that and looked at him to see whether it was actually the Gita he was looking at. And he was. And then he came up to me and he said, what is that in your hand? I said, that's a Bhagavad Gita. That's the essence of India's spiritual wisdom. And he said, I am fascinated by India's spirituality. I said, tell me something about you. Who are you? He said, my name's Abdurrahman. I'm from Tunisia and I'm a Muslim. Then I was like, okay. I didn't say anything to him. In my mind, I was thinking, okay, this doesn't quite make sense. Like, what is it about the Bhagavad Gita that's attracting you? So I said, why are you fascinated by India's wisdom? He said, I've only ever been to one temple in my whole life. But the experience, the inspiration, the love, the emotion, and the incredible experience of spirituality I had there, I will never forget it. And ever since I went to that one temple, I've been fascinated by India's spirituality, but it's the only temple I've ever been to. So I looked at him and I said, which was the temple you went to? Maybe I know it. He said, I don't think you'll know it. I said, no, tell me, which temple? He said, it was a temple in India. I said, oh, really? Which temple? He said, I don't think you'll know it. It's in India, it's in a place called Jaipur. I said, oh, really? I said, which temple in Jaipur? He said, I've only ever been to this one temple, and it was a temple in Jaipur, India. I don't think you'll know it. It's called the Govindaji temple. I was like, wow. You've only ever been to one temple, and the one temple you've been to is Govindaji. Recently, we were with the Radha Govinda Sangha, and we were talking about Govindaji. And he said, I've only ever been to that one temple, and the experience I had there blew my mind. And with the Radha Govinda Sangha, I told them that your Sangha is the most dangerous Sangha because Rupa Goswami makes a statement. Govinda kyam haritanum itike shitirtho pakante ma prekshistastavayadi sakhe bandhu sange stiranga. Rupa Goswami says, if you're interested in enjoying material life, then make sure you don't see Govinda. Because if you see Govinda, everything will be finished. Your material life will be finished. And it was here it was, live example. He said, I went to Govindaji and the energy, it's amazing. When you go out on book distribution, all of these things that we read about in Shastra, all of these things that we kind of hear, these wonderful, you see it all live in front of you. This is the wonderful opportunity of going out on Sankirtan. There was one Mataji, her name is Rama Leela Mataji. She's very amazing. She's the daughter of Surabi Prabhu. And Surabi Prabhu was Srila Prabhupada's disciple who built the Vrindavan temple. And Prabhupada said, for the service of building the Vrindavan temple, you go back to God just for that. So his daughter is Rama Leela Mataji. And she's in Paris, and she's an avid book distributor. So she goes out every day, and she thinks big. So she goes to big people. She even gave a Bhagavad Gita to Macron, the French president. So she thinks big. So one day she went out and it was raining. So she said, book distribution has to go on, but she's quite old. She's over 50. So she couldn't stand in the street. So she said, okay, I'm just going to go to bookshops. So she went to one bookshop and she presented the Gita to the person on the counter. He was very interested, but there was a customer in the shop, and the customer overheard, and he said, is that the Gita? Are you the Hare Krishnas? She said, yes. He said, I've been looking for you. I've been looking for all of you. Where are you? She said, here we are. We're here. And then he said, give me the books that you have. So then she gave him a Bhagavad Gita and 2 volumes of the Bhagavatam. And he gave her a €200 donation. So that was nice. That was nice. And then what was funny was that morning we were going out on Sankirtan, and as we were taking the trolleys out of the Paris temple, she said, I want to take some beads with me today because I think I should also give people beads interested. So somehow that day she had beads with her. So after he gave a 200 donation, then she gave him a set of beads, and she's got a video of this. When she gave him the beads, right there in the shop, this man paid full dandavats, and for 5 minutes he was chanting the Maha Mantra in the middle of this shop doing dandavats. She's got a video of it. I'll send it to all of you. And he was overwhelmed. Next day, she decided to keep in contact with him. So next day, she phoned him. Next day, he decided to give a 400 euro donation, and he took 2 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. Okay. Next day, she was, she thinks big, she doesn't stop. So she called him the next day, the third day, and he said, I've got a piece of land, and I think I want to donate it to you guys, for the work that you're doing. So now they're in the process of having talks with him to get this land to have anyway, whatever they're going to use it for. It's amazing. You don't know who you're going to meet, what's going to happen. Prabhupada said it's a transcendental drama. So I often feel like through the year, we do so many amazing things. We learn so much. We're so blessed at the manor. We get so much opportunity to learn Shastra and hear from such amazing persons. But I feel when we go out and we reach out to others, then all of that we have received, it becomes so real. The knowledge turns into realization. The knowledge softens our heart, and the knowledge goes much deeper. And everything we receive, it makes so much more, is so much more valuable. So I can only, if I was in person with all of you, I'd be taking the dust of your lotus feet for all the amazing endeavors to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. It will soften your heart. Karuna Ras, there's no taste like the taste of compassion. It will, as I said, we may not be able to cry in a kirtan, we may not be able to cry in front of Krishna, but when we go out, it touches our hearts, and when we share with people, it softens our hearts, and this is spiritual life. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. We read the 14th chapter. Yes, we're trapped in this material world by the 3 modes of nature. But as we rise to goodness, then someone will pick us out. And the book distributors who go to all efforts to give people knowledge, you're those people who are pulling others out. And while you're pulling others out, the things that you see, the conversations that you have, the experiences that you encounter, all of these things will soften your heart. And in the process of helping others, you ultimately help yourself, because we can then really have a beautiful relationship with Krishna. So I guess it's 8:30, and maybe we can have some reflections from all of you about your experiences, or if you have any questions or anything to contribute on this theme of the taste of compassion and softening our heart by giving to others. So I don't know if anyone has any question or any comments or.
Hare Krishna, Sutapa Prabhu. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes, Palika Mataji, she is
Hare
a
Krishna.
stalwart book distributor.
So wonderful hearing your wonderful story of it. It's really
Hare-
brings tear in my eyes. It's so wonderful. I'm today, in the call, I thought I've exhausted all my name and I said, no, let me go through. So there are two more people. He said, yes, I'm just one. I said, before 9 o'clock. He said, yes, Mataji, you were doing it. And after they did it, he said, I'll send you a text. And they've done it, the text. Yes, I've done it. So it was such a wonderful experience. And some of the people didn't want to. I just left them a message. I took the blessing of the whole program. And I just left them the message, please, this is the best gift you can give to the world. I left a message in their phone. I felt good that I'm serving Srila Prabhupada in the best way I can. That's the only way. Wonderful.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is love. This is love. Love in our Shastra is defined in different ways. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur defines love in this way. Sarvatha dvamsarahitam satyapi dvamsakarane yadbhava bandayo yuno sa prema parikirtita. It's beautiful. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur defines love in this way. He says, Sarvatha dvamsa rahitam, even when there are many, many obstacles. Satyapi dvamsa karane, even when there are many reasons to say, I can't do it, I don't want to do it, it's not possible. Yad bhava bandayo, because your feeling for the person or your feeling for wanting to serve is so strong, you carry on regardless. You carry on regardless of all obstacle. You carry on regardless of all excuses or reasons to give up. You just keep going and going and going, trying to serve your beloved Srila Prabhupada, Krishna. Sa prema parikirtita. This is love. So sometimes we think love, yes, we want to cry for Krishna. Yes, we want to have our hair stand on end. Yes, we want to experience the ecstatic symptoms. But love is defined by the faith, the determination, and the complete perseverance to continue on in service, even when it's difficult. And that's what you're doing. That is love. So sometimes we think, I have no love. Yes, maybe, but we do have some love, and we want to develop more love.
Need your blessings.
I don't know if I have many blessings, but as they say, we can pray to Srila Prabhupada to give you his blessings. But you are our senior, and even despite all difficulties, you're doing it. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sutapa Prabhu, I have a comment here from Deepak Sapat Prabhu, who's saying that the story you told about events that took place in France were amazing and so much to learn. I'm going to call a few of my friends tomorrow and try my best to distribute some books to them. Hari Bol, and thank you very much. Deepak Prabhu has been running around ever since last at least 2-3 weeks, helping us transporting Srila Prabhupada books from one place to another. So he's done an incredible service, Prabhu.
Yeah, it's amazing. We want to be part of this, I often tell the story that once I was on the street distributing books, and there was a homeless person, and the homeless person had a sign, and the sign read, "Give me hope." Some people were walking past him, they bought him a Costa coffee. Some people gave some coins. Some people came over to him and gave some nice words. And to be honest, 99% of people just walked past him and didn't do anything. I was watching him all day and I thought, he received some things, but how much hope did he receive? Can a Costa coffee give you hope? Maybe it gets you through the day. Can some coins give you hope? Maybe it gives him an opportunity to at least sleep somewhere that night. Can some nice words give you hope? Maybe they'll give you a little more inspiration to do the same thing tomorrow. None of these things give hope. The only hope is that somehow or other, if we can understand that we're not meant to be in this world, we're not meant to go through all of these things, and that somehow or other we have to find our real happiness from our spiritual connection with God. That's not to say we shouldn't help people in a practical way. Yes, we should. But it's interesting, even this boy, he didn't ask actually me for any practical help, so-called practical help. I was about to give him money and he wanted to give me money. He said, because what you've given me is far more valuable. I'm ready to give up my money for this because my money won't give me hope. But knowledge of God will give me hope. And I looked at him and I said, God puts great people through great difficulties so that they can do great things in the world. And I looked at him and I said, I'm no one to say this to you because I've never experienced one fraction of what you're experiencing in your life. But I do want to share with you that I think you're going to do something amazing for the world, because in all of your struggles and in all of the faith in God that you're showing in those struggles, you'll become empowered to change people's hearts in the future. And I think he understood that. So yes, Deepak, go for it. Give the hope.
Yeah. We have Rajni Prabhu who's put his hand up. Yes, Rajni Prabhu,
Prabhu.
please unmute yourself, Prabhu.
Rajni Prabhu is someone who's always ready to try and serve Srila Prabhupada, and very inspiring. Yes, Prabhu. You have to unmute yourself.
In the meanwhile, Prabhu, I think you're still muted. Oh yeah, you're unmuted now. Devotees, you can send your messages for your reflections or any questions.
Can I start, Sutapa? May I? Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you, Rajni Prabhu. Yes, go ahead, Prabhu.
Sutapa there, yeah? Sutapa Prabhu?
Yes, I'm here, Prabhu.
Yeah. Would it be right to say that, see, the love you talked about, you said this, the hard-hearted that you say to you about yourself. I call myself very hard-hearted when I was living a materialistic lifestyle. And it was so bad, I felt, I see these crises in Ethiopia and elsewhere in the world, starving people and earthquakes and all battered people completely. And I felt I had no emotions, nothing at all, because I was so engrossed in, money sort of. Today I made so much, tomorrow I want to make so much more. And I said to myself, there's something very wrong about me. How can you develop love? And suddenly I came across this definition of love from a Greek translation of the Greek translation of what love actually means from the scriptures. And it says, it's the caring and the welfare for the other people. That is love, you see. And that cannot just come like that. So then I said, well, I'm not a Bible reader, but eventually somehow I started reading this Bhagavad Gita. And I didn't know that I was actually serving Krishna by reading Bhagavad Gita. And then, of course, in the manner, chanting came along, and devotional service and so on. But then automatically the love was beginning to develop within me without realizing. So I see these crisis situations in the world, and I said, I want to give money. I want to do something about them. And even felt so bad that why is this happening to people like these? And so to me, I thought love comes from Bhagavad Gita, from chanting, from associated devotees, and of course, serving Krishna or Prabhupada. But would you not say that your love also is a similar process, or similar process, the soft-heartedness that came about eventually? Or was it the attitude that just developed, or was it scriptures or association, devotees?
Yeah, no, thank you so much. That's a beautiful definition of love. Um, just to be very honest with all of you, when I was young, I was like a kid. Then I remember on the TV they used to have these like charity fundraising or the starving kids in Africa, like an online event, you know, Bob Geldof and all of these kind of things. And I remember they used to show these like 3-minute clips of, like, for example, African children who are malnourished. And I remember when I would see those videos, I wouldn't be able to see it. It was like too much. And in my heart, I was feeling like, my God, we got to do something to make the world a better place, you know, like somehow or other, we have to do something. And somehow or other, we all came in contact with the Krishna consciousness movement. And now we actually have something within our grasp that we can actually give to people that will make such a big difference in their life. And I feel like so blessed that Prabhupada taught us this, that we can help people in a practical way, but ultimately we have to help people in a spiritual way. And so, you know, oftentimes practical welfare work is very much appreciated in the world. But what people don't realize is that along with that, the spiritual welfare work of giving knowledge can actually create a revolution. Because all of those thousands of books that are going out, we don't know who's going to read it. Even if one person reads it, that one person who becomes convinced and who becomes endowed with spiritual vision, they can make a huge change in the world. So yeah, I guess there were some things in my childhood like that where I really felt like, let's do something for the world. But then I think only after coming to Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, then we realize what it is that we're supposed to do to help others. And what can we say, Rajni Prabhu? It's like we have a lifetime of service. You go out into a city like Paris, or you go out into a city like London, and there's unlimited people. And behind the smiling faces, there are crying hearts. How many more people are there out there like that boy that I met from Cameroon, who doesn't even know where he's going to sleep tomorrow? I could have just walked past him and I wouldn't even know what he's going through. How many people are we walking straight past like that? We had no idea. Krishna says the world is suffering. And I feel that I always try to, when I, as much as possible, to go on book distribution, because I feel then the reality of this world hits us, what it really is. Otherwise, we can be living in our Vaikuntha bubble. I mean, it's nice to live. It's nice to live in the Vaikuntha bubble of the association of Vaishnavas. We want to live in that bubble, but also we should not be oblivious. We should not be oblivious to what's going on outside of that bubble. And we need to reach out of our bubble and really give. So here we are. We have the best thing to give to the world. It's a lifetime of service.
That's amazing. But I thought the greatest thing was this Sankirtan movement, and in the West End with this Soul Temple guys going every evening, and on weekdays, weekends as well. And I saw one video clip where these guys working, the English guys, all sit in the city with the tie and the suit and everything, and coming out of the tube station, and this Hare Krishna Sankirtan move is going on, and they just suddenly join 5, 7, 8 with the ties on, jacket, suit, and they're jumping and dancing. And I say to myself, there it is, that this compassion of the Sankirtan guys from Soho Temple, the love, which is what it is, isn't it? Caring and welfare of the people. And there was a practical demonstration of these guys, English guys who know nothing about Hare Krishna mantra, they're jumping out all over the place. And I think this movement has got an amazing potential to transform.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say thank you for raising this, Rajnipu, and I just wanted to say that we've inherited a legacy from Srila Prabhupada's times, a legacy in which being on the street was such a part of the Hare Krishna movement. I mean, of course, we're in COVID, so I mean, I'm just saying generally, being very close to the people, one-to-one. And somehow or other, we cannot lose that. Once COVID is over and once we can go out there and do door to door and be on the streets, we have to be out there. We have to be close to the people. We have to give them that one-to-one opportunity to meet a devotee. And one thing I want to share with all of you is that His Grace Rancho Prabhu has written a book, When the Sun Shines. And this book is all about the beginning of the Hare Krishna movement in the UK. And I think Divyanam Prabhu is bringing it up. If you've not read this book, please read this book. And the book next to it, Our Family Business, also talks about the roots of the Hare Krishna movement and our family business, which is to share spirituality, share knowledge with people. And so each one of us should read these books and understand what is the legacy that we've inherited from Srila Prabhupada. If people don't get a chance to come in contact with a Harinam or come in contact with a book distributor, that will be such a big loss to the world. And so I think all of you really are not just keeping it alive, but just growing it. And let us give this mood to everyone at Bhaktivedanta Mana and everyone in ISKCON that we've got to be close to the people. We've got to give people a one-to-one chance because people want to meet a devotee. So yeah, please order these books. It's not about us selling it to you, and it's not about you giving us some money. It is love. This is love. So yes.
Thank you,
Thank you, Sutapa Prabhu. Thank you very much. I've just shared the link. We obviously two books, when you buy them individually, they are a little bit costly, but we have put a combo together so you can buy it with a discount. Both the books are very, very beautiful books, as Sutapa Prabhu said. The link is there. You can order. Chandru Chaitanya Prabhu and his good wife are doing a wonderful service, which was Sutapa Prabhu. They reached out to Sutapa Prabhu, and Sutapa Prabhu said there's going to be plenty of opportunities, and they've been packing the books, bringing the books, running around, going into the courier person, replying to the emails to all the people who are sending the order. Thank you for your order. This is your tracking number. Your books here are on the way. And they are in a complete bliss at the moment. And many devotees, Sutapa Prabhu, each one, almost every member of the chat is involved in some form or other. Girish Prabhu and his family has opened the whole house. The books are there. They're being shipped from there to many places. I don't know. I mean, if Hema Mataji is here, she's just, I'll just read some reflections, Sutapa Prabhu, and then we can end on that, of the devotees.
Just before you say that, can I say one
yes.
thing?
Yes, please go ahead, Prabhu.
Once I was in a temple and there was a pujari, and that pujari, his service was to obviously serve the deities, and he never stepped 1 foot outside of the temple, okay, for many years. But every single day when the Sankirtan book distributors would come back, this pujari would run up to them and say, how many books when? Who did you meet? Tell me the stories. He was so excited about the Sankirtan. And one day he was in his excitement, he was asking what had gone on. And one devotee took me to one side and he said, you know, he is the biggest book distributor. He is a Sankirtan devotee. He didn't start one step out of the temple, but he's got the spirit. He wants it to happen and he's helping it happen and he's desiring it. And he said he's the biggest Sankirtan devotee. And so this is really, really wonderful that whether you can go, whether you're the caller, whether you're the deliverer, whether you're the packer, whether you're the one who's just really enthusiastic to make it happen, everyone's part of it. So yeah, all these amazing Vaishnavas who are, it seems again, don't think it's normal. It's not just packing books. This is love. This is love. So do it with love. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sutapa Prabhu. Before I read the reflections, just a couple of announcements, Prabhus and Mataji. So tomorrow we have a golden opportunity before we get into Gita Jayanti, which is the last day of marathon. And because of all the hard work all of you have put in, I almost feel that on the day when we will recite the Bhagavad Gita with Sutapa Prabhu and Radha Govind Prabhu, just while we are engaged in reciting the Bhagavad Gita, the Gitas are going to go flying that day. We don't have to do anything because all the hard work all of you have done till 24th is going to automatically pay off on 25th. That's how I feel, because Srila Prabhupada will reciprocate. And that's why in this moment of Krishna consciousness, we have two kinds of devotees, Bhajananandi and Ghoshanandi. So those who are doing bhajan, that doesn't mean they're not doing Sankirtan. Just by their bhajan, so much of Sankirtan is happening today in the world. So hearing and chanting and book distribution, they go together. So tomorrow what we have done is Mukunda Hari Prabhu, who's been really leading the front on contact calling. We are going to have 2 sessions tomorrow. And we saw the power. I just had a message from one of the Mataji. I'm trying to remember her name. She said, I came into the session, heard Mukunda Hari Prabhu, went out, tried calling 7 people in 20 minutes, and all 7 people have already committed to either order or sponsor the books, all 7 of them, just within 20 minutes. So that's the power of coming together and calling people. It's almost like we are all going out in a monthly Sankirtan festival. So tomorrow at 11 o'clock, we are going to have a call for an hour. And then tomorrow in the evening, again, we will have another call from 5 to 6:30. So please join us for these 2 calls. And as Palika Mataji said, even if you run out of the contacts, you're not going to run out because Mahaprabhu will empower and help us find people. So just few reflections, Sutapa Prabhu, before you go. So here we have Hema Mataji is saying that, Prabhuji, thank you so much for deep realization you have shared. This is our first time I got involved in book distribution to this extent. One thing I realized is that in Srila Prabhupada, serving Srila Prabhupada, you don't worry about yourself. You don't worry about yourself in respect to ego, as it is our service to Srila Prabhupada. Nothing seems to matter except distributing books. Thank you, Mataji. And she's saying, I know you talked about the miseries of the modes in this material world, but where else would you get a chance to distribute Srila Prabhupada books? With this opportunity, one feels these miseries are worth it. Nitai Mata is saying, Sutapa Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam, your encounters are always close to heart. Lord gives such encounters to devotees who can appreciate such encounters with deeper realization and also to share it with others and inspire others to make the change. Thank you for sharing. Shipra Mataji is saying, amazing, invaluable story, Prabhuji, so inspiring, deep understanding of Sankirtan. Thank you so much. Please come to chat group often and enlighten our knowledge. Dhanavad Pranam, Hare Krishna. Divya Gaurangi Mataji saying, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a very inspiring class. The most important spiritual knowledge of Bhagavad Gita we want to share with everyone through the books of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for sharing the incidents in France and your encounters with these amazing people. Your classes during lockdown and Kartik meditations have been so inspiring. Feel blessed to hear Hari Katha from you always. Hare Krishna. Chandresh Prabhu is saying, thank you, Sutapa Prabhu. My mind is still filled with that boy story. Thanks for inspiring book distribution and to come in contact with people in streets. Bhagwati Mataji is saying, thank you, Sutapa Prabhu. You're amazing. Every year I wanted to join a marathon but hesitated. This is the first time ever I'm participating. The book distribution has opened our hearts and opened the preppy's heart and the doors for them to reach the Lord. This lockdown has really helped us, inspired us by the chat leaders. Thank you, Prabhuji. Jolly Mataji, love shows you how to decontaminate from Maya's material, decontaminate from the Maya's material graphs, or decontaminate. That was amazing reflections by everybody, Sutapa Prabhu. So just as I said, tomorrow 11 o'clock, I'll share the link either tonight or tomorrow morning. And then again at 5 o'clock, we also have Sacred Street Party doing contact calling at 3:30. If anybody is here from Sacred Street Party, please join Rasika Rai Prabhu and his team doing the contact calling. And I'm very happy to share with you, we were wanting to try and get closer to 25,000 Bhagavad Gita, but looks like the way the books are coming in and the distribution is happening, by tomorrow, we should hopefully touch 25,000 Bhagavad Gitas. And then we depend on Krishna and Srila Prabhupada on the Gita Jayanti to get us another 10,000, and then we will be there. So Sutapa Prabhu, over to you for any concluding messages. And thank you again, Prabhu, for your association. I know I reached out to Prabhu. We were trying to get him from France, and the connection was always an issue. But because Sutapa Prabhu's heart is there with all of us, he made it in time. And this is the first program Prabhu is doing as soon as he got back to give us his association. Thank you, Sutapa Prabhu. Back to you, Prabhu.
No, I'm so happy. I have no words. My heart is just filled with appreciation for all of you. And I just want to again share with you my strong feeling that Sankirtan is so special, book distribution is so special, and we're honored to have this opportunity to participate. So please just keep together, keep doing it, and keep reminding everyone that this is our family business. We want to go out with love and help people. It's the greatest need of the day. So thank you.
I just want to say, Sutapa Prabhu,
and
after
please, you all bless me that I can do something to continue. You're all doing it, so all of your collective blessings, pray for me that I can try doing my little sparrow-like efforts for whatever years we have left in this world.
Sutapa Prabhu, thank you so much. I'm going to end on a small prayer, Prabhu. I'm feeling very strongly to pray to Srila Prabhupada. So if you so please allow me. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear, and the entire Guru Parampara and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we pray to you at your lotus feet today that kindly let us feel the same enthusiasm and compassion the devotees are feeling when they're going out, especially Sutapa Prabhu, now that we have his association. And please allow us to really reach out to the people in person, as much as we have enjoyed calling people on the phone, but we really want to be out there in the street. So please help us, help the world in do something miracle so we can out again and have the presence on the street and distribute books thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times for your pleasure, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for considering our request. If everybody who agrees with this prayer, either in part or whole, please unmute yourself and loudly chant, Gauranga!
Gauranga!
Gauranga,
Gauranga!
Gauranga, Gauranga.
Please order your combos. I've shared the link. Please don't forget to order the books. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Sutapa Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Devananda Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Mukunda Das Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Gauranga, Jai, thank you.
Hare
Jai,
Krishna.
Avinash Prabhu, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Sorry, bol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Jai, Mukund Hari Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Chandra Chandra Prabhu. Hare Krishna. All glory to your service.
Thank you for inspiring people.
Thank you for giving me the service to try and do a little bit on my part. It's been amazing so far.
Yeah, it's our prayer to Srila Prabhupada, Lotus Feet, that he blesses you all with wonderful mood of this seva, so that it's just everlasting. Because the impressions you create will be everlasting.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we got, two more sessions, tomorrow morning and evening.
Yeah.
Let's give it our best.
Look forward to that. We will do that tomorrow. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Prema Vilasini Mataji, for your wonderful seva behind the scenes. It's really nice, just seeing how wonderfully you're serving Srila Prabhupada. Who knew that we will have such a privilege to serve Srila Prabhupada despite the lockdown? All of you are, this goes to shows, and that's why I strongly feel Prabhupada has to double reciprocate with us when the lockdown gets over. And I feel strongly the book distribution is just going to go off the roof here next year, I think, when the COVID comes out, because it'll be new hope for the people. And seeing so many devotees joining in, like Bhagwati Mataji, Hema Mataji, who have come for the first time. I mean, Mukunda Hari Prabhu's mentorship Sangha, every single devotee has had amazing experiences, actually. So I think next year is going to be equally exciting, isn't it, Mukunda Hari Prabhu?
Absolutely. So we've sown the seeds.
Give us a different dimension.
Yeah. Also, what I'm experiencing is people who had sort of not responded over the last few days. Suddenly, I'm getting calls. My accountant, and I was the last person I thought, because very, very materialistic person. The last person I thought I should approach. But as I was getting to the bottom of my list, I also called him. To my surprise, not only did he say, yes, sure, I'll sponsor, but then he called me yesterday. We were having prasad, and he said, I've sent the link to 3 of my friends who I think they will do it. So he was asking me more details about how much and how to do and everything. So imagine, so you do not underestimate anybody. Because Krishna has his plans. We should not judge who will take it, who will not take it. Just call everybody. That's what I learned.
And you can just feel the energy, this evening we had just this evening in the last 3 hours, including the Bhakti Vriksha East London and our group, we've had at least 75 donations come through in last 3 hours, Prabhu. So people are now, because it is natural, Gita Jayanti is coming and it's going to pick up, and hopefully on Friday, devotees and new people who are going to watch and recite the Gita, it's going to be a fantastic, World Gita Day on 25th. And you could just feel, hearing from Sutapa Prabhu, we needed somebody who's been on the streets to come back and, light us all up. And that's what exactly he did, with his, and you knew, and I know, we all know Sutapa Prabhu, he couldn't have stayed in Marathon at Manor, whether lockdown or not lockdown. So he had planned this strategy long time ago, telling there is so much he needs to get done and this and that. And Prabhu was out, distributing his books all over France, actually. So it's amazing. Great. Thank you, everybody. Hopefully see you all tomorrow at 11 and then at 5. Did we say 5:30, Mukunda? I forgot myself. 5:30. Yeah. 5:30 to, we'll do 5:30 to 7 tomorrow and 11 to 12 tomorrow morning.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Jyoti Mataji. Thank you so much. Very good.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.